Hey folks, welcome back to another Paul Massive video, and today let's talk about the upcoming Singsuit Diantha and Mega Shiny Diancie dropping tonight. As usual, you should be playing for her live when she drops, so stay tuned for that. Should be fun. And let's talk about the unit then. So first of all, quick overview of Singsuit Diantha and Diancie. And alright. So stat-wise, well, it says okay physical attack, speed's not great, and everything else kind of sucks, but at Mega obviously increases much more. Really good physical attack, decent physical defense, and everything's the same. Else is the same. So alright, as for the moves, you have Rock Tomb, which is Rock Tomb, Rock Wish for Rock Zone, right? You have B Diamond Storm, her buddy move over here, which the activation condition is when it's Rock Zone, right? So when there's no Rock Zone, no B Diamond Storm. When there's Rock Zone, all the B Diamond Storm in the world, okay? And then after that, lowers the target's defense by 2, since, you know, it's an AoE move, so it's lowering everyone's defense by 2. Lowers opponent's defenses by 2 and raises defense of all allied sync pairs by 2, which is nice. And then you have the trainer move over here, which decreases sync move counted by 1 when the defense is raised. Raise the user's special defense by the same amount. Applies gradual healing to the user. And if Diancie has Mega Evolve, also grants an extra sync move counted by 1 and physical move up next by 2, which is very nice. And then Sync Nuke is based on having Rock Zone on the field. And as for passives, you have Tripwire 2, which is, you know, -2 speed on entry for the opponent. Since it megas, right? Also the mega, you know, there's no new moves or passives, unfortunately. But yeah, you have Tripwire, which again triggers another time when mega, so that's -4 speed. And you have Honing Hit 9, which is every time your attack is successful, right? Raises your attack by 2 and crit by 1. So 3 moves and boom, you have that maxed out. Team Unbending defense for the whole team can't be lowered. So, as you could probably already tell, very good unit, even at base. So, let's talk about the grid-wise, right? How many copies you want to pull / candy. And at 1 out of 5, you obviously have your basic kit over here with B Diamond Storm, with the, you know, damage, obviously the debuffs and buffs here, you have all that stuff. You have Rock Zone, which is the big one. Right, what you don't have is the nuke, generally, right, and a lot of like other things, small things that are cool, but aren't necessary, but are nice. That's actually in the grid. But yeah, as for 2 out of 5, wait, does 1 out of 5 any? No, okay, no relevant nodes. 2 out of 5, you have a few nice things, right? Quick Cure if you're trying to tank with her, which you could definitely tank with her a bit, all right. You have Rock Zone status immunity, which is nice as well if you're tanking. Lithic healing, also nice if you're tanking. Catalytic Kick is really cool for some extra move gauge acceleration. She's a really, you know, gauge friendly unit there. MP refresh on your trainer move if you for some reason need another one. And then you have Tripwire, which could make it so that you could get -6 defense, or not defense, -6 speed on the opponent, right? If you sync with her. And then some sand stuff, Soothing Sand, Sands of Time, which is like crazy because like she has gradual healing here. You have a heal in sand here, and then like heal in Rock Zone here, which, you know, you could have both of them up. So you could have like all 3, you know, gradual heals up on Diancie at once, which is kind of funny if you want to do that. So yeah, it's 2 out of 5. I'd say 2 out of 5. You don't have too many crazy stuff, right? There's some nice stuff here and there. A lot of tanking stuff and also move gauge stuff, but yeah. 3 out of 5 is where you get a lot of other things. You have Tough Cookie for your DPS over here, which obviously does apply to B Diamond Storm. You also have Cakewalk, which is your big Sync Nuke stuff. Also, speaking of Sync Nuke, you also have this, Scholar's Sync, right? Extra 50% on your Sync as well, whenever your special defense is raised. Also have the 2 Sync Move power-up nodes, obviously, as usual with most units in the game. Trip Twice 9, which, you know, gives you -3 in total speed, speed debuff every time you use Rock Tomb. But also you have like Tripwire already, so it's not that big of a deal. You also have MP Refresh on your Rock Wish, so yeah, you see the Rock Zone extension, right? Locked behind, I think 5 of 5. It looks very tasty, but on the other hand, 3 out of 5, you do have MP Refresh, so it's like not that big of a deal, right? And then you also have sync damage guard here as well. So yeah, 3 out of 5 is basically you got your nuke, you got MP refresh and rock wish. So 3 out of 5 I would say is highly recommended. You don't have to have it, but I'd say very, very, very much recommend. 4 out of 5 you get team sharp entry, which is kind of nice. Let's be real. to help out your teammates, obviously buffing their crit, especially since it's a mega unit, so you get to buff it twice, so it's +2 crit for your team. It's not even just like +1, it's +2 since you're mega. You also have rock wish and initial propulsion, which is also low-key kind of nice as well. If you, for example, you sync with her and then you use her trainer move, which gives you -2 sync move counter, and boom, you use this for another -1 sync move counter. That's like -3 sync move counter all by herself. That's really nice. Low-key. 4 out of 5. As much as I hate to say it, is low-key kind of nice. 5 out of 5 is decent. You have soften up, which is cool, so you guarantee you get a crit. And then you get rock zone extension, which again is very, very, very nice. Definitely not necessary though. Right? 3 out of 5 you do have the MP refresh, which is generally a bit more reliable. Well, I wouldn't say reliable, but because extension is more and more reliable, but MP refresh is probably a bit more important for longer stages than extension is, right? Because yeah, so there's that. But is it nice to have? It's definitely nice to have, but it's not a must, I'd say. Yeah, the big ones are 1 out of 5, 3 out of 5, and I'd say dare I say low-key 4 out of 5. 5 out of 5 is, again, it's nice, but not necessary, definitely. So yeah, that's the unit overall. Let's list out some pros and cons of the unit. First of all, pros. Oh my god, that's the entire page. She does a lot of stuff, man. I'm sorry. But yeah, pros, obviously you have rock zone and extension over there, which is definitely very, 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 very nice. She has very good rock DPS as well over here, right? I mean, I think she's that's not rock. Where's rock? Is rock under steel? Why am I here? 1 second. There we go. There's rock. So let me. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. The DPS here is obviously really good, right? Only behind Emmett, and that's assuming obviously Emmett has his big multiplier with his HP being, you know, right? Because Emmett takes damage, the damage goes down quite a bit, but yeah, still, regardless, 1.26 million is a lot, right? And on top of that, right, in terms of some other stuff, she's also the best rock nuker, as you could also probably tell as well. Over here, a very big rock nuke there too, so that's definitely very cool and nice. And yeah, she's got her defense buffs and debuffs on her AoE defense buffs and debuffs on B Diamond Storm, right? 3 of these B Diamond Storms, and like boom, your team has max physical defense, and the opponent has no physical defense, unless they buff the back or is immune, but whatever. You also have sync move countdown, right? You could potentially get up to -3 sync move countdown, which is kind of insane. She could also tank a bit. How well she tanks kind of depends on the circumstances, right? She could be actually really nice of a tank, or she could just be, okay, I'll like take like 2 or 3 hits or whatever, right? You also have the team unbending thing, which is cool for certain stages that debuff physical defense like crazy. You have self-sufficiency, right? Also, it's completely self-sufficient for like Battle Villa too, so since it's not based on MP, you could just like attack and get that, right? And then you could just max out your physical attack and crit without using any MP. The slight downside for Battle Villa is you don't get to use B Diamond Storm without using without spending MP on Rock Zone though. So there's that. But I mean, hey, like Rock Tomb DPS plus she still has a very good nuke. So you could just use her like as a nuker in Battle Villa, I guess. Yeah. You have the speed debuffs as well, right? With the trip up or the rock tomb stuff. You have team crit buffs, and the other thing is you don't need 4 out of 5. Again, I do feel like the stuff she does get at 4 out of 5 is nice, and the 5 out of 5 stuff is all right too. But definitely you don't need it. Definitely don't need it, right? Like her strongest rock nuke in the game is already sufficient at 3 out of 5. And obviously, Rock Zone with NPR is at 3 out of 5 too. So she's also pretty gauge friendly because her B Diamond Storm is only 2 gauges, and she does also have like the catalytic kick over here if you really need it for the move gauge acceleration, and some other Sands of Time if you're running her in or lithic acceleration could help as well. And she does work well with rock units as a zone, setter. That's kind of important, right? Most of the rock type damage dealers in the game are all physical, so yeah, the physical defense she debuffs, that's definitely very, very, very nice to work with them. As for some cons, she's not perfect, right? There are some cons. Without a support, you can't really get your max nuke on the first sync, unfortunately, because you need to set up Rock Zone. Wait, is it attack move is successful? Yeah. So, like, for example, if you do something like a Rock Zone, B Diamond Storm, well, first of all, you don't have your crit max out, you don't have your physical attack max out, and you don't have, obviously, the cakewalk fully set up, all that stuff. So, yeah, you do need support if you want max nuke on your first sync, right? But you should be fine, to max it out completely by yourself on, second sync at least, right? The grid is kind of expensive, right? It is kind of expensive. Although, most units with, half a decent grid are expensive, right? Grids. And I guess the last downside is if there's, no zone. If you run out of zone and don't get any more NPRs, you have, you're stuck with Rock Tomb, which is, that bad in comparison to Diamond Storm. I guess, one other downside is, AoE, if you mind that in master mode, right? Her damage is definitely AoE, so there's that, right? So, alright, let's talk about some synchroned builds, team comps, and lucky skill stuff. So, lucky skill wise, as a damage dealer, obviously Crit Strike 2, Weathered Warrior 3, I guess, if you're running her a lot in Sandstorm team, Super Powered 3, obviously, as well. If you're running her as a tank, Vigilance, right? Tanks. But yeah, as for anything else, I guess Fast Track is always decent. Speed, or actually, the entry moves are also decent too, because she's a mega, right? So she gets the entry skills twice. So a speedy entry, you get that twice. On when you do mega her, so that's also a decent option. Or you could give her Adrenaline is nice too, so you don't have to pick up Rock Wish initial propulsion. So, which if that's gone, her 4 out of 5 loses a lot of enticement, I guess, right? So yeah, Adrenaline plus whatever the rest is, or you could just have them both, and then if you can get a quad Q up, and then boom, that's -4, so you shred 2 turns off. But so anyways, yes, Adrenaline's another solid option there as well with her. So all right, into the grid, 1 out of 5. I think you could pick up everything, but if you're low on orbs, just pick up stuff like this, I guess. Flameproof maybe. If you're tanking, you can pick up all the other stat nodes. If you're not tanking, then just ignore the stat nodes, pick up this stuff. Sand Shelter if you're running in sand, but otherwise, whatever, right? So, 2 out of 5. We have... let's see. Oh, yeah. 2 out of 5, the catalytic kick is definitely nice, right? Pick up the extra physical attack up 10 there as well. And as for the rest, you could do Tripwire if there's anyone on your team that needs speed debuffed based multipliers. If you want to max that out, you could do that. And then all the rest is really just for tanking stuff, right? So if you're tanking, then you could pick up stuff like Lithic Healing, Rock Zone status immunity if the opponent's status is. If not, then not. Then Quick Cure. Again, if the opponent does that. If you're running in sand, Soothing Sand of Time are nice, but if you're not, then those are obviously not useful. But otherwise, you could just pick up, if you're just using our damage healer, just be Diamond Storm. Power-ups over here is fine, right? And everything else, you could just, depends. So, alright. As for 3 out of 5, a lot of options, right? Depends on what you're trying to do. Big Nuke, Cakewalk here, Scholar's Sink, right? That's just big nuke stuff. Tough cookie here for some extra DPS as well, if you want. So you could maybe run something like this for nuke and DPS over here. For the last 7 that you have left, can you really spend it on anything like slightly? I mean, I guess you could do this over here, or same thing with like quick cure over here instead if you need either of those, if you're also tanking with her a bit. But yeah, the other big one is obviously MP refresh on Rock Zone or Rock Wish if you are running it in a slightly like longer stage. You definitely want something like that. As for what you're trying to drop, you could drop the tough cookie if you don't mind, you know, if you don't really need the extra DPS, or you could drop this if you don't need the extra nuke, right? It just really depends on which one you're going for to pick up both Lithic Acceleration 3 and Rock Wish MP Refresh, which are obviously both really, really nice. As for like tanks up, like these are really just highly dependent on the stage you're trying to go for, right? I wouldn't really bother with this stuff unless you really, really, really need that. I mean, even if you really need that like -6, just like Rock Tomb twice or something at like the beginning of the battle, and like just double Rock Tomb and then Rock Wish turn 3 and then whatever, right? So if you want that. As for 4 out of 5, if you need Team Sharp entry, obviously you can pick that up, right? In the, you know, for the cost of maybe dropping again something like this, right? And what was the other? Oh yeah, the propulsion thing. You could definitely pick that up, but it will cost you, right? It'll definitely cost you. So maybe if you let's see, maybe you do like something like this, right? Because this is, if you are doing initial propulsion, is probably going to be for a pretty fast stage, right? Something like Master Mode. So you could pick that up and maybe drop the Rock Wish NPR stuff. Can you actually do this? Oh, no. Yeah, this is better. So you could get that as well. Don't pick up that defense. You spent this extra 4 energy elsewhere, maybe on a Diamond Storm or something. As for 5 out of 5, again, there's just so many options. It really depends on what you're trying to do. If you want the extension on Rock Zone, that's cool, right? You could get the Cakewalk here. Sync Nuke power up, and you got something like this. You won't have enough for Tough Cookie, unfortunately. You won't have enough for Team Sharp entry either, unless, again, you drop some of these. It really depends on what you're trying to do. If you want more DPS, want the extra nuke stuff, you want the extra crit entry or not, right? So those are highly dependent. Like at the point at like 5/5, there's just so many nodes and options you could go for, right? So I can't go over all the possibilities. Team comp wise, there's just so many options because there's like honestly a lot of really nice rock type damage dealers. So like obviously the rest of your kit or rest of the team would depend on which one you're picking up. Obviously there's Emmet, right? If you're running Emmet, probably you want something like Ingo as a support for Sandstorm and just general, you know, like other stuff. You know, the buffs can also help Diancie. Again, she can max it out herself, but it makes it faster, so you can maybe, if you really want that first sync in, right? So that's really nice. But yeah, there's just so many options. There's Emmet, there's obviously classic blue, even though the hybrid beam is like, you know, special. Ignore the grids I have up here. These are just, the site just saves whatever the last thing I have on. But yeah, for blue you could, if you mega him, you could have like double edge here instead. You can run double edge, which by the way, the recoil is not that bad on him because he has the mitigation on it, right? Whatever it's called. Yeah, recoil removal like 9, so like you don't have to worry about that at all. And obviously she's really good too. Double Diancie's really nice. They're both have multipliers based on physical defense if you also need that, which again, the shiny Diancie just buffs the entire team's physical defense. Not that, you know, she doesn't have any herself; she has it herself. But yeah, if you want towering force on her, if you're doing like a striker EX nuke or whatever, that could that could be nice, right? Also tough cookie. So in general, makes it faster. She could again do it herself, but it's just even our old pal Olivia over here, right? With maybe some Sandstorm support, could do some stuff maybe. All right. Yeah. Anyways, overall, I'd say this is a really good unit, right? I know it's not a mass fair, it's just a Pokefair, but damn, like some of the best units in the game are like Pokefair, right? I mean, I would count, you know, as one of the top ones. Obviously, Singsuit Steven Deox is just a Pokefair, right? You know, Singsuit May, Dojo Gloria, right? Singsuit Brendan, some of the best units are all Pokefairs. Singsuit Hilda, right? Hilbert, right? So, yeah, incredible unit. This is like Rock Zone Thunderbolt Red, right? Obviously, they're not completely the same, but like, I mean, look at this. 1.2 million DPS with a 8.3 million nuke. I might be remembering wrong, but I think that's better than Thunderbolt Red, both sides. Yeah. Oh, that's so much more DPS than Thunderbolt Red, and a higher nuke than Thunderbolt Red as well, which is, I don't know, man. Right? Obviously, there's you know, some caveats there. Hers is like AoE with split damage. Thunderbolt Red's is AoE without split damage. But I mean, like single target, she like blows Thunderbolt Red like out of the water. And also Thunderbolt Red has the piercing, you know, blows thing, right? And among other things. But like, if you look at a lot of other aspects of their kit, right, there's a lot of similarities. They both got their terrain/zone extension. They both set the terrain/zone, right? They also both buff debuff the defenses and all that stuff. And again, this Singsuit Diantha does do more damage. Thunderbolt Red also has the max move, which, yeah, probably levels out a bit. So, look, man, I'm not saying Singsuit Diantha is better than Thunderbolt Red. I'm not saying that. But you can't say she's not at least close to Thunderbolt Red. And Thunderbolt Red, a lot of people could, in my opinion, correctly, right, presumed to be one of the best units in the game. And she is very similar. Not as good in some places, but also better in other places. So, I don't know, man. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it, but I feel like it's at least fair to say that she's Rock Zone Thunderbolt Red. At least comparable. At least comparable, right? I don't know about being better or not, but you could definitely compare these two. And again, Thunderbolt Red is really freaking good, right? Also has the Master Pass, all that stuff. So anyways, yeah, that's been this one, I guess. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the videos from my channel for some more Pro Masters content. Forgot to give the score, but this is a 9 out of 10, bro. This is a 9 out of 10. Fantastic unit. I'll be pulling for it, so you know, tune in for that later tonight. Good luck, guys, are pulling for it. This is 9 out of 10 unit all day, every day long. Fantastic stuff. Great and all. I guess the only thing is, you could maybe wait for part 2 of the Callus Villain Arc before completely committing, right? But like outside of that, if like the Callus part 2 Villain Arc units aren't like as good, right? Like for example, like the Unova one, then go for it, man. Holy crap, totally worth the gems. All right, see you guys.